We are starting week 2 of our conversation with the coach. And I'm Troy Albers. I'm the minister. I'm the preacher at the Sunray Church of Christ, where everyone's welcome. And what we're doing, if you weren't able to watch last week, what we're doing is sitting down with the coach, and now we have two of the athletes to talk to, and we'll be asking Coach Boatman questions that we hope you will find interesting, that will be informational to you. One of the questions this morning that I'm going to ask is a question that might help us who don't know a lot about the game. It might help us to understand or get some information that we haven't had. We're going to review, like we did last week, we're going to review the previous week's game and then tonight's game, and we'll do that every Friday at 9. And then we'll also be, like I said, interviewing some of the athletes. So thank you, everyone who's tuning in. We need to thank Happy State Bank as well, because they're letting us come and use their conference room. And so I guess you could say that this time is sponsored by Happy State Bank. And so I want to say good morning, Coach.
Good morning,
Boatman. It's good to be with you again. I really enjoyed that interview last week. And I got some good insight. I think we all did. I heard some good comments about the interview. I don't remember how many viewers, but it was quite a few viewers. So that's good. Okay, so before we get to the review of last week's game, I'm going to ask you some real life questions about your life. We're going to spend time letting y'all know more about the coach without naming names or whatever, unless you're comfortable. Tell us about your family.
My mom and dad are both from Texas. Marilyn and Dewey.
Wow, yeah, that's...
Yeah. My dad is from West Texas. He grew up around Lubbock.
Yeah.
Went to school everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
My mom is from Elgin, Texas.
Okay.
And that's just a little east of Austin. And her parents were Swedish, and her grandparents were immigrants from Sweden.
Wow.
And so she grew up hearing Swedish spoken.
Yeah.
She never learned it, but she understood it
I was
first
going to
time.
ask, does she understand? Yeah.
And then I guess she decided that I didn't need to know any of that. So she kept it from me. Unintentionally, I guess. But yeah, that's her story.
Yeah.
I have a sister. She's just a year or so older than I am. So we were very close when we grew up. Folks thought we were twins.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
For a while. I have 2 brothers.
Mm-hmm.
One is an architect in Dallas,
Yeah.
and the other is living in the Philippines.
Wow. Yeah. What's he doing in the Philippines?
He works with in the hotel industry.
Yeah. And over there, that's an important thing for people coming in. I've been to the Philippines, and hotels are very important for us when we were going. All right, the most influential mentor in your life, and what role did they play in impacting your life?
Wow.
A mentor.
So it's probably an unfair question, because most influential, I think there are several most influential for me. My high school football coach, D.L. Robertson. I feel like what I learned from him was it's important to treat kids right.
Mm-hmm.
It's important that you have a good relationship with the kids, not just hey, what can this kid do for me?
Yeah.
Because I need him to play football on my team. But I always appreciated that from him. Dr. Sarah Jane Richter was my dean in college, and wow, I think what I got from her, I think she gave me a lot of confidence, and I don't know if there's a substitute for confidence.
Right.
It's
good.
so important.
Mm-hmm.
I would say David Wood is a mentor of mine. So He was the head coach at Muleshoe when
Okay.
when I went there. We were very lucky in that we were able to go there and have just a wonderful experience beyond just football, but for me, especially with football and the athletic program, I learned a lot from Coach Wood. And then while I was there, we had a number of coaches who went on to become athletic directors, head football coaches themselves. So Greg Pointer at Seminole, Ralph Mason at Andrews, Kirk Bird, Westwood at Snyder, Jason Cole, who's now at Quanah. I'm proud to say that those guys are all part of my coaching tree.
Great, yeah, great. And you mentioned one of your coaches having an influence, but if you could talk to your all-time favorite coach in the past, now or whatever, if you're still able to, or if you would like to talk to someone you've never met, who would that be, and what would you ask him, like, for advice?
Well, the funny thing is I do.
Oh, yeah.
So I call those guys and I say, hey, listen, this is going on. What would you do?
Nice.
What's best? What's right? And the good thing about it is, I've got several of them that I can lean on.
That's great.
But this year alone, off that list, I've talked to 3 of them. So.
Nice. Yeah. Now, if you encountered a new coach, just starting, a new head coach, maybe it's their first year ever, what advice would you give them?
I would say, for one, nobody is Superman.
No.
You can only do so much. Cut yourself some slack. You don't have to be perfect all the time. It's okay to make mistakes. You're going to get better as you go. I think when you start out, it's such a big responsibility and such a big job that the weight of it it's paralyzing, and it can make you feel like you don't know how to make the smallest decision, because is it the right decision? Is it not the right decision? I think that's just something that you have to learn by doing. You just have to go through it, and you suffer through it.
Yeah.
It's it's passion, right? It's a passion. You suffer for the job.
Yeah.
And then after a time, and because you have good mentors, you watch them, you ask questions as you go, and then you begin to feel comfortable in your own skin. And I would say the process takes at least 10 years.
10? Wow.
And it's different for everybody. Sure, it's different for everybody. I think if you have good mentors growing up, and you have good mentors, if you're a player in your college experience, then it can accelerate that process.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to go your own way, small school say, you're looking for that head job. You don't want to start in the junior high and work your way up the ladder. Jumping into that head job at a small school, those are some of the biggest shoes you can try to fill.
Yeah.
Those guys, they do everything. They don't have a big group of assistants who can help them. They don't have people to delegate tasks to. And so you can bite off more than you can chew very easily. So ambitions, it can cloud our judgment sometimes, can it?
Yes.
But that's what I would say. I would say, hey, it's okay to learn. Don't think that you have to be too big too fast. It's a process, and you just have to trust the process.
Yeah, good. Yeah, that's a great answer. Okay, so you mentioned the pressure that comes along with a coach, and this is my thinking. You're going to have pressure from where? For your high expectations from the parents. There might be pressure there. You might feel pressure. I don't know if you do, but from the faculty, the leadership, the fans who might not be parents of the players, and then the players themselves. So do you feel that, because you mentioned it's a big responsibility, how do you deal with, how do you handle the pressure that might come?
I think really the pressure comes from within. You don't want to disappoint anyone.
Yes.
And so the pressure comes from within. And some things cannot be controlled, some things can. It's a tough lesson to learn to try to be able, like the serenity prayer, right? What things can you control? Okay, what things can you not control? And it's hard not to worry about the things that you can't control. But for your own sanity, sometimes you have to say, you know what, I can't worry about that.
Yeah.
But I think the pressure comes from within. Sure, athletes want this, or need this. Parents need this, want this. That's never going to change.
Right.
But I would say that's never really been something that made me feel just a ton of pressure.
Good.
Because I understand, some of that I can't control. But I've always wanted to be able to look at myself in the mirror and say, hey, yeah, I'm doing what I need to be doing. I've done everything that I can. And so that's the pressure that I deal with the most. Now, pressure from just your job, because you have to get X, Y, and Z, and don't forget A through T, right? Some jobs out there, there's just too much people are doing. And it can be that type of a job, especially when you're young, and let's say that you do have a staff, but you haven't learned yet how to delegate. You got to be able to lean on people, and you got to be able. They need things from you, and you need things from them. So I've learned that if I don't want to deal with some of that pressure of look at all these things that we have to do, I have to put a lot of thought into this beforehand. And so when the season is over, I'll start thinking about the next season. Coaches leave. This coach can't do that job anymore. And this other job was done by this other coach. Now this new coach is going to do both of those jobs. And you sort of have to map out to very small, very fine details what the expectation is, who's going to do what, so that good things can happen. We don't have time to sit there and spin our wheels because we haven't put people in the positions because we haven't delegated tasks. So that's something that you learn by doing. You can come into it thinking, well, people are going to know what they're supposed to do. Not always. Some people, they have an idea of what you want them to do, but they still need to be told for their own reassurance.
Yeah. Probably especially if they're younger, just starting out, they need direction to grow. It's kind of like if you have new coaches helping you, but this is some of their first experience, then you're a coach for a coach. Does that make sense?
Well, yes, and absolutely, that makes sense. But even some of the older guys, they will have seen so many different systems because there's not one way. There are a lot of ways, right? He may wonder, well, what way does coach want? Because I've done it like 5 different ways. So he's waiting too for that reassurance.
Oh, okay.
Because,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, let's review last week's game. I'll let you do that.
Okay.
Go through it and.
Oh, well, we jumped out to a good start. And then we stagnated. We had a series of about 5 plays in a row that were just about the worst imaginable result, right? And our kids continued to play hard, but it's no different than in life. The game is a microcosm of life. If you get hit with 5 bad days in a row, it has an effect on you. you start to, and the big thing that we talk to the kids about is you start to let doubt creep in.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as you do that, things start to sort of fall apart.
Yeah.
Your focus evaporates. And I think, looking back on the game, we got a grounding penalty that put us in a 3rd and long, I think 3rd and 20.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want to say that after that, we had a punt. It wasn't blocked, but we had a bad snap on a punt. We had to try to run. We did not convert. We give them the ball in the short field. They score.
Mm-hmm.
We get the ball back. I think we throw an interception very, very soon after that. And then I think they score off the interception and they kick off to us, and they did not intend to kick the ball onside, but the kid missed the ball.
Oh, is that what happened?
And it
Okay.
spun sideways, and they got on it, and so we were punch drunk
Huh.
at that time, and kind of looking
That's
around,
interesting
asking
way to say it,
ourselves,
yeah.
okay, what's happening here? We wanted to just make it to halftime so we
Mhm.
can kind of regroup, and we felt like we were going to be okay.
Mhm.
But we continued to struggle in the second half. And so, sometimes in the moment, you know what the fix needs to be.
Mhm.
Sometimes in the moment, you have no idea what the fix needs
Sure.
to be.
Sure.
So we come back in on Saturday, we review the tape. I say tape, it's digital, right?
Yeah.
Digital now.
Yeah.
We review the video, and we see that we're in the right places, and we're not executing. And why are we not executing? Because we're not playing with confidence,
Okay.
right?
Yeah,
we
that
we have
makes
allowed
sense.
the doubt to creep in,
Mm-hmm.
and our confidence is gone. And who's going to be the guy who steps up and makes the play? We're all waiting for that guy
Oh, yeah.
when that guy needs to be, ourself.
Uh-huh.
So that does, when we watch it, it does give us a little bit. It does restore our hope. Our kids can see. Our kids can see. No, hey, we were right about what we were trying to do.
Mhm.
It was there. We got to be better next time.
Yeah.
We have to learn from it.
What were some of the positives that you saw come out of the game?
I think the positives, the one that I care most about is that the kids continue to play hard.
Yeah, they did.
We don't turn on each other. We don't point fingers. We just try to play the next play. Things don't always go our way, but we want our kids to prove their worth by the way that they play when adversity sets in.
Mhm.
And we try to teach them that adversity is not a bad thing. We talked yesterday about video games, because kids are gamers these days.
Uh-huh.
Do you like the games where you can win every time and it's not hard?
Yeah.
They say, well, no, we like it when it gets more difficult. Well, why don't we like it when it's more difficult? Right? Why does that not translate to what we do on
Yeah.
Friday?
To football.
Adversity is good.
Mhm.
It's a chance for you to really shine.
Sure.
So let's see it for what it is.
That's a great way to look at. That's when we grow. You're not going to grow when. I like that. I like the way you said that. Julio Viado.
Mhm.
He came out of the game. How is he doing?
He's doing great. He probably got the best possible news that he could get.
Uh-huh.
So he got rolled up on
Yeah.
in what's called a high-low block.
Mhm.
Someone blocked him low in one direction and blocked him high in the other
Sure.
direction. And that is a penalty because kids get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were worried that maybe he had something torn.
Yeah.
And he went in and got his leg checked out. And they said, hey, no, it's not as bad as you guys thought it was going to be. You're looking at probably a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Rather than
The rest of the season.
the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No surgery, nothing like that.
Nice.
Just, hey, give it some time to heal and get back at it.
Good. And we talked earlier about other injured players. Are they coming out of this? Some of the things that they're dealing with, do you think? Are any of them out for the season? I guess.
Well, no.
Good.
At this point, we don't know that any of them is out for the season. We currently have 4 kids out for
Uh-huh.
different reasons. But it's hard on those kids because they want to be able to contribute.
Yeah.
They want to, they understand that, hey, we're not at full strength. Let's see what we can do, at full strength. They want us to throw them out there, but we can't.
Yes.
And so they're dying to be healthy.
Well, they worked so hard to get to
Yes.
the point, practices and
Yes, they do.
everything before the season started.
They work extremely hard, and they put in all the work leading up to now, which is supposed to be the reward and the fun
Mhm.
part. And for them to be hurt,
Yeah.
it's just disappointing.
Yeah, it has to be. Scouting report for tonight's game. What are some of the strengths that you see that they have that will need to be overcome?
I think that they have a really good quarterback.
Yeah.
I think he's a very athletic kid. If he gets loose, he can really make you pay for letting him loose. So we need to try to bottle him up.
Okay.
I think he's a special player. He can throw the ball a long way. He's also a punt returner, kick returner.
Man.
Last year, he returned a punt for a touchdown in our game at WT. He took another one nearly all the way, and that it was a big factor in last year's game because it really broke things open for them. And so we understand that we need to try to limit his impact on
Sure.
tonight's game.
Okay, good. And some of their weaknesses that you see from your scouting.
I think perhaps the rest of the team relies very heavily on him. So, if something were to happen to him, I don't know that they know what do we do now.
Oh, yeah.
And it's hard because I'm an outsider looking in, and I don't know what's going on with their team, but I do feel they rely very very heavily on him.
Okay.
I also feel like they can be caught. They seem to be caught in some alignment issues in the film that we were able to see. Where they're trying to flip the defense at the last second.
Oh, yeah.
And so
Yeah.
maybe they're not in position. And we need to be better as an offense about playing at our pace, because there have been times in the season when the defense is not ready and the offense is, and we're waiting on them to get ready. And I think that's because in practice, when we're trying to get the scout team ready, our offense waits on the scout team.
Yeah.
Let's get it set up and then let's start. We don't want to have to do that in the game. So
Yeah.
we've been practicing differently this last week to try to address some of those things.
Yeah, I appreciate you. That was one of the questions. What are you focused on this week? And you just answered that. And you mentioned the quarterback. Okay, so this is for people like the viewers and I maybe that don't know a lot about the game. Your playbook, how many plays would you say that there are in total in your playbook?
Oh gosh, it's. I wouldn't say it's a lot, but the way that it's constructed, it can become a lot.
Yeah.
It's we may have this play, but we also have it out of this formation, but we also have it out of this other formation, but we also have it with this motion.
Oh, man.
So it's just there are a number of permutations of any given play.
Wow. Okay, so someone comes in, they make the team, but they might not understand the playbook because it's kind of like a different language to be able to look at it and understand what the X's are, what the directions are. What process do you go through in teaching them how to read or how to read those plays?
Well, primarily, we take them at the beginning of the season, even before two-a-days, and we teach them our most fundamental schemes. And I would say that we might have 5 run plays, and then we might have 10 to 15 route concepts, and that's our playbook. So if you can teach the kids, those 20 things, and then the rest of it comes with time. We try on Mondays to practice this set of plays. Tuesdays is this set of plays. Wednesdays is this set of plays. So they know what to expect every Monday, every Tuesday, every Wednesday. They know what plays they're going to be working on. So the way that we build not just the playbook but also the practice schedule, we want to build it so that it's recursive, so that it builds on itself, so that it snowballs. We can always come back to and keep in order what we do.
Yes. Yeah. Another side question about the playbook. How do you and the rest of the faculty, or whatever you want to, staff, come up with that playbook? Is it built on previous years, or do you rewrite it?
It can be. Your playbook that you take into next year won't be the playbook that you took into the previous year. Now, fundamentally, yes, it will be. But you may say, you know what? This, I think we might change and tweak, and let's think about doing it this way.
Sure.
So, and I think the same thing happens as a teacher. I can remember when in my first year, you need to, this is advice from people, most of whom did not teach. If you just save your lesson plans, do a really good job in the first year, the second year will be easy. No, it won't. Because you don't do the same thing every year. Yeah. Because why should you? If you want to grow, you need to take different chances. And so you're going to be better faster the more you change. And the more you, what's the word? The more you question, the more you explore, the more you ask, the better you get and the faster you get there.
Great. Okay, that's the set of questions for this week. And I appreciate you answering them, and you answer them very well, and I think the viewers appreciate that. That you do expound on the questions, and you're well spoken. So we appreciate you, not just as a coach but as a person, and we're glad you're part of the community and have been.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Yeah. Okay, now we're getting ready to have a few of our athletes come in, and I'm going to ask Cutter Lusk. He's a senior. He is a defensive lineman. And I'm going to interview him for a little while, and then we have another athlete coming in. I said you're a senior. Gave your position. Did you grow up here?
I did, yes.
Okay, so you played football all through high school.
Yes,
all right.
sir.
What's your favorite thing? What do you love most about being a Bobcat?
My favorite thing about being a Bobcat is how supportive the community is, and how you feel like people are there for you.
Yeah.
With our tailgating, and like I see you giving seniors free burritos, it's awesome.
Wait, they give free burritos
To senior football players.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Do they give them to old guys? So, your favorite subject in school?
It'd be math.
Okay.
Something that's always just connected with me, and I like having a
Yeah.
problem and solving it.
Will that affect your future? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do after high school?
I've signed with the Marines.
With the Marines?
Yes.
Wow, well thank you
You're welcome.
for doing that, really. I mean, for willing to serve. Why did you, what made you decide to join the Marines?
It's one of the hardest branches
Mhm.
and one of the hardest challenges in life.
Yes.
And if I can overcome that, then I can overcome anything.
Yeah, good, great attitude. As far as sports role models, if you can, the most influential, or who would that be?
One of my favorite athletes to watch, or he doesn't play anymore, would it be Shaquille O'Neal?
Yeah.
The sort of swagger and aggression
Yeah, he was kind of aggressive, wasn't he? Yeah.
aggression. I can't say that word.
No, I understand. Sometimes I get tongue-tied. Okay, are you nervous before games? Obviously.
Being a senior, you have a big weight on your shoulders.
Uh-huh.
But as the first kickoff goes, it all just leaves you.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. So butterflies before,
Mhm.
but not during.
Not during.
Now you get to a point, you get to a play where it's the most important you know, this is the most important play. This could turn the game the way you want, or get you far enough ahead. There might be butterflies in that. I mean, this is the key play. How do you deal with that?
I just look down at our line and see who's all there, and I know we're capable of achieving
right.
greatness. So,
Good.
yeah.
What would you say, being a member of an athletic team, what would you say is the most beneficial trait or lesson that you've learned? How has it changed you?
Would be not leadership, teamwork, and how being on the O line, we all have to work together to move the D line and
Sure.
win the line of scrimmage, and it really helps you work with other people and
Yeah.
be compatible.
Yeah, you're going to have to learn to do that in the near future, aren't you?
Yeah.
Work for other people and work with other
Mhm.
people. Okay, Cutter, I appreciate you answering those questions, and thank you, and good luck on tonight's game.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. And then we have Logan Hanna. Logan Hanna, he's a sophomore, he's a running back, he's a safety, and welcome. It's good to have you, Logan. We were talking earlier, and this is your first year in Sunray, is that
Yes, sir,
correct?
it's my first year.
And you've gone from a large school. Earlier, you said that he was in a class of 450. So things are a little different. How big is the class now? Do you know?
I think it's 40 kids, 30
Correct.
kids.
So wow, that's a huge difference. What are some of the neat things that you've seen in coming to Sunray as far as a smaller school?
It's like at a big school, it was kind of more like, I don't know how to say it, like just more, not more challenging, but there's just so much other people that like at
Yeah.
practice you may not get to play as much.
Oh,
Or
so
even,
you're getting more
like,
play time.
Yeah, like more reps and stuff to
Yeah.
help with plays.
Yeah. Now, as far as being a student there at the school with Sunray, what's the difference between being part of a 450 class versus a 40?
In that big of a class, there was like 30 kids in each class, so like
Okay.
say you need help on something, you wouldn't get as much help as
Mhm.
you would like here at Sunray where there's 10, 15 kids maybe.
Yeah.
And then in some classes it's just me and one other person.
Wow. Like what class is that?
Ag.
Okay. Wow. That's great. Good. I'm glad you're seeing that. And your favorite subject?
Math.
Math.
It's always came easy to me, so.
Really? So, and then I know as a sophomore, you may not have looked, far into the future, but maybe you have. What do you want to do after high school?
I would like to either be a coach or
Mhm.
do something like architect kind of. 'Cause
Oh,
it
wow,
has to do
yeah.
with math.
It has to do with math. But if you go the coaching route, what is making you lean toward that? Why, in your past, in your life?
From like my past of what's happened recently and how the
Uh-huh.
coaches have been there for me.
Yeah, appreciate that. And that says a lot about your coaches, a lot about them, and we appreciate that as well. Most valuable lessons that you have learned from playing football?
Teamwork for sure.
Okay.
And then how, if, like Coach was saying, how last game, how things seem to fall apart,
Uh-huh.
how you have to like kind of stick together so
Yeah.
that it doesn't go that way.
Okay, so it seems like Coach Boatman uses some good analogies. What are some of the lessons that you remember from just, talking about not how he applies different things in life to the game of football?
Never quit
Nice.
until like keep going until the whistle blows.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, that last week was the first game that I was able to go to this year because of other things, but I appreciated the way that things were going south, but y'all just kept fighting, and so
Yeah.
keep fighting. I like that, and that's a lesson in life. All right, I'll let you go. How'd it go? Did you feel like were you nervous at first?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, but you did great. You did great, Logan. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
We're going to sign off. Thank you for viewing, and thank you so much for your support that you give this team. Y'all have a good Friday.